But then again, there's also the order of one ball that she, flunks under pressure. We've seen it happen to her multiple times. I mean, Eugene, it happened. As a matter of fact, it kept happening at Eugene. Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Oh my gosh, an athlete has to have special talent for it to invoke so many wild thoughts from myself. Yeah, and I'm not apologetic about it. So if y'all think I'm gonna say I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. You know what I mean? When Elaine Thompson here steps to the track, or whenever she's supposed to step to the track, because of the caliber athlete that she is and what she is capable of once she is healthy, then yes, we sit here and we're like, oh my gosh, we have so many expectations from her. No, this is clearly not to put, any pressure on her, but clearly just to affirm, how good she really is or how awesome she is as an athlete. She's the fastest woman alive, 10.54 seconds. So with that said, the double Olympic champion starts her season for 2024, which will be a year that could crown her, legendary when it comes to potentially walking away with a triple double. Now, the double has never been done, and she did it. You know what I mean? So she's in her own company, and she's going after something, to one up it. And only one person in history has ever done it, and that was a Usain Bolt, also Jamaican. We can pop our colors there. How that sidetrack is, she opens her season, but it left a few of us wondering, like, huh? Like, this was definitely not the expectation at all to see Elaine Thompson here open her season at the Prefontaine Classic. Yes. And she comes up against the likes of the world champion, Sha'carri Richardson, and also Marie-Josée Talou, as well as Julien Alfred. And we also have the likes of Melissa Jefferson, Daryl Nita, Brittany Brown, Tanisha Twerry. Now, those are the athletes that are scheduled to be in the race. Now, I see some of y'all saying, hey, one may not turn up. Listen, at the end of the day, we have to work with what we're seeing on the start list until, the time comes and somebody pulls and we can talk about it. You know what I mean? But with that said, trackies, I think this is going to be definitely an exciting race. And a lot of us are looking forward to it for multiple different reasons. Now, if I'm supposed to go, from a logic perspective, based on what is happening here, clearly we've seen that Elaine Thompson hasn't run a race at all this season. Sha'carri has dabbled and doubled over the 200 meters, hasn't really looked impressive there, but no 100s. Then Julian Alfred as well did run a 100. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing it on the season's best here. She did run that 100 where she pulled up, and her teammate Rashida went away for the win. I remember that race very vividly. Maybe it was because the wind was above their logo. Maybe that's why they don't have it here. Probably, right? But just put a little W there because she has run the 100. You know what I mean? But with that said, so logic will tell you that the athletes that already have races underneath their belt should come in warmer, hotter, to perform. So based on what we've seen so far, you'd say Marie-Josée Talou potentially goes into this race as the favorite. We saw her in Kingston. I said she looked like a gazelle. I keep rewatching, her form, and I'm like, oh my God, is this Marie-Josée Talou? She was galloping, on the track, and she, went away for a win for 10.91 seconds. Now, it's been a couple weeks since then, right? But that was still a phenomenal, performance from her. So she, would go in logically based on the performances that I've seen as favorite. Now, Melissa Jefferson is close as well in terms of times done at 10.94. But if I'm supposed to pit her against Talou, I'm sorry. Talou definitely trumps her, in my opinion. She's going to have to prove me otherwise. Let's just put it that way, right? Then we look at Daryl Anita as well, also in the conversation. She's trying to 10.98. I think she ranks behind, probably, I would say she ranks behind, Melissa Jefferson. And I'm not just going based off time. I'm just, looking in my mind how these athletes actually execute. And I think Melissa may be able to trump her. Julian Alfred, though the 100-meter performance was questionable, she definitely still ranks, in my opinion. Now, the question is clearly, where does she rank? Because, that performance wasn't, it. Let's just put it that way. And of course, then there's, Sha'carri, there's Tanisha Twerry, there's Elaine Thompson Hira. Now for Tanisha Twerry, she came out in her first run recently. Wasn't really impressed by that, so I don't really have her finishing in any of the top places, to be fair. So she's pretty much a bit down the pack for me in this particular lineup. Julian Alfred. Let's go back to Julian Alfred. So again, I'm done with logics because again, logics will tell you that Julian Alfred will be behind the likes of Mary Jose Talou, also behind Darren Nita and Melissa Jefferson. But we all know that, when it comes to competing and running fast, Julian will turn up, you know what I mean? So I'm not seeing her finishing, all the way behind all these people, you know what I mean? And then now that leads me to Sha'carri Richardson and Elaine Thompson Hira. So as I said, I'm done with logics, right? So Elaine Thompson Hira opens up again, and I thought this was a very controversial move, especially in knowing what we know about, Ronaldo Walcott. We've seen Shelly-Ann Fraser Price open her season, but it wasn't against the field or in the competition that you were expecting. It was a low, well, I don't want to say low key meet, but it was, down in Kenya at one of those World Athletics meetings, you know what I mean? Not many people were there, notable, you would say, over the sprints. And she dropped that 10.67 seconds, right? So going off that, and especially when you just look at the races that were targeted for Shelly-Ann Fraser Prize under Ronaldo Walcott, it was never into, the stacked pack fields, especially before, a major championships or maybe going into the trials to, get a lane, or, a spot on the team to, whichever championships is on offer. So going off that, you're like, okay, Elaine Thompson here hasn't opened her season yet. There's no way she'll be getting in a field like this, but she is. You know what I mean? So it only leads to one thing. You know what I mean? Elaine is ready and probably even more than ready. You know what I mean? So personally, I definitely think that this race, Elaine Thompson here is here to win. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, everybody is there to win, clearly. But Elaine Thompson here is not just here to open her season and just run at whatever time, in my opinion. I mean, I think she's here to put on a fast time, and she's definitely here to win. Or otherwise, why even show up? Why even put yourself under this type of pressure to line up in this field when you don't need to? She's no longer a Nike athlete, doesn't need to be here at all. So for her to even be here, she's here to win. You know what I mean? Then there's Sha'carri Richardson as well. There are a lot of people that, have the opinion that Sha'carri can't afford to lose this race at all. We're talking about the millions of brand deals that we've seen her get, this season, as well as being Nike's, I suppose, highest paid athlete right now. So there's no way she can afford to lose. And guess what? Maybe, they may be onto something there as well. But for me personally, I haven't seen Sha'carri in 3 weeks, right? And again, going based on how long it takes a coach to really get an athlete sprinting fast, it's the same, 3 weeks, window. Again, we can use Elaine Thompson here as a reference. Once you have that base, trackies, it doesn't take long to get an athlete that is a high-class athlete back into super sprinting form. We saw Elaine Thompson here take a few weeks and run 10.79, last season to close out her season. So with Sha'carri Richardson running, 22.99, 3 weeks ago, am I concerned that she's not going to come out and run a fast time? No, I'm not. I think she's going to come out. I think she's going to run a fast time as well. But the question is, will it be enough to defeat, in my opinion, Elaine Thompson here? That is definitely coming for the win. I think this race is going to be between Elaine Thompson here and Sha'carri Richardson. I definitely think so. I think, these two or who will take the two top placings in this particular race. I have Elaine Thompson here for sure walking away with the win. I think Sha'carri Richardson will be there. But then again, there's also the odd off one ball that she, flunks under pressure. We've seen it happen to her multiple times. I mean, Eugene, it happened. As a matter of fact, it kept happening at Eugene, right? It has always happened to her at Eugene, surprisingly. Elaine Thompson was in the race both times. Elaine was first one time and third, I think, the other time, right? So if that happens, then Sha'carri may finish, down the pack, which I don't really think, has anything to do with her talent. That's just something else. That's just her being able to manage the pressure, and that will be, something she has to work on. It could happen, not sure, but I'm hoping it doesn't, because I'm really looking forward to a really good race between Elaine and Sha'carri Richardson. So let's see what happens when they get there. So I'm gonna call the race as Elaine, Sha'carri, Talou, Julien. That's how I'm gonna go with it. That's my top. What was that? 4? Yeah, that's my top four. So Elaine, I don't know how to count now. Elaine, Sha'carri, Talou, and Julien. That's my one, two, three, four. So not necessarily going based on what we've seen so far, because really we haven't seen anything from some of them so far, but just going off the caliber athletes that they are and being able to show up in races, at any given moment. You know what I mean? Plus, we've seen snippets of some of these athletes in training as well, and it's giving what it's supposed to be given, right? So with that said, definitely have Elaine Thompson here to walk away with this win. Sue me. No, you can't. Now that's it, Chuckies. Let's jump on over to the men's 100 meters. Now we do have Jamaicans lining up in this particular race as well. So let's jump in just to give you a quick my quick thoughts on how I think this race will go. So we have Benjamin Azamati from Ghana. We have Akeem Blake from Jamaica. We have Recoil Brathwaite from the Ivory Coast. No, I'm sorry, from the British Virgin Islands. We have Brandon Cranes from the United States. We have Christian Coleman from the United States. We have Sandra Davis. Oh, wow. So proud of Sandra. First time in league, amazing. Then we have Brandon Hicklin from America, Ferdinand Omanyala from Kenya, and Hiroki Yanagata from Japan. All right, let me just scratch a few names right off the bat. So I'm just gonna say that um, Ferdinand, let's just start there, hasn't been looking, really spectacular this season, I have to say, right? So I don't have him finishing in like the top three places or top three finishers, unfortunately, in this race. So I'm at that Adidas meet. He does look very heavy as well. Again, he probably doesn't have to worry about the trials in terms of going to, Paris. So he has enough time to get in shape and lose or peak. Let's put it that way. Get to his peak performance so that when he gets to Paris, he will be able to, go much faster. But I'm not seeing it so far this year. So that said, I don't have him finishing in my top three. Hmm. All right, so I think America, may, have a few good performances here because we have a Brandon Hicklin that has already gone 9.94, Christian Coleman 10.04 as well so far this season. So I think those two athletes will be in the conversation, but also I think Akeem Blake will be there as well. Now, based on what I saw from Akeem Blake's last outing, I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm going to definitely go on a limb. I went on a limb last time, for him. He false started, unfortunately. It is what it is. But I'm still going to go on a limb in this race. And I'm going to say Akeem Blake for the win. I'm going to say Christian Coleman second. I think Brandon Hicklin is going to be in the conversation as well with Sandra Davis to someplace. I'm hoping Sandra Davis can, pull down a third/fourth. Maybe I'm pushing it, but I'm hoping for, a third or fourth out of him. Plus, I don't want us to underestimate as well Hiroki Yanagata from Japan. These Japanese are always flying. He's already done 10.02 so far this season. So he could come in and surprise as well and finishing, one of those top four places as well. But for now, I'm gonna go Akeem, Christian, and I'm hoping that, Sanjay can challenge for third, but maybe fourth in this particular race. All right. So I got through that, pretty quickly, guys. So that is it with the men's and women's, sprints, the 100 meters. Now, Jamaica does have, other athletes in other events. But if I'm supposed to go through everything, guys, then this video is never ending and you all don't watch the whole video. So that said, I'm going to leave it here for this one. I'm going to do a live. So on the live, I'll talk about my thoughts for the other events for the other Jamaicans. But until then, I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.